We really need intro music to this.
We do need intro music.
Yeah,
Maybe calling any like musicians we have out in the league. If
I
you want to make
wish we
some
had a
intro music,
musician friend or even like a technology friend who created some tool to make custom sounds, generic sounds. I think that would be a great intro to the Second and Nine pod. But welcome to the Second and Nine pod, week 3 of the NFL,
week 3,
episode 7 or
epi-
8.
episode 7.
Episode 7, yeah. So we missed last week, but coming back with a vengeance for episode 7. I think
Coming
we
back for a vengeance, just like my fantasy football team will.
and I mean, speaking of your team, like your name even changed on the pod to 0-3. That's pretty brutal. You and Carlisle just bottom of the barrel right now.
Look, we're catfish. We're the catfish of the fantasy football league. We're bottom feeders. And here's the thing: some people love catfish. I don't know. You fry it up, you put it on a sandwich, and it's good. So I think my team just needs to get cooking, put some seasoning on that, and we're gonna be back at it. So we're gonna get into some of the like strength of schedule stuff today, some points for, points against. And I have a valid excuse for being 0-3. It's not just me drafting, I hope.
Dude, I think people are like out here with the excuse like you're talking about the points against. Matt yesterday was like crying about the 1 second like delay. Like how when they hike the ball like at 0 seconds, like you normally get a little bit of leeway. Matt
Yeah.
was like, King of the Commonwealth was like, oh, they shouldn't have let that happen. Complaining about 1 second. That's how you know you're in bad shape, when you have to complain about the non-delay of game call.
King of the Commonwealth, more like king of complaining. I saw that text come through and I was like, shut the fuck up, Matt.
Yeah.
You're going to lose regardless because your team sucks.
Yeah. You can't rely on a penalty to win your week. There's no way.
For sure.
But, you and Ryan are at the bottom of the barrel. We have 8 teams pending Monday Night Football tonight. We're recording this at 7:30. So anything can change, but nothing's really going to change. There are going to be 8 teams that are 2-1. So I'm 2-1. I felt good about my 2-1, but like bad is 2-1 too. So like, how good does 2-1 really mean?
Yeah.
So
it takes a couple weeks to shake out. I mean, you even see it in the NFL. Like some teams are 2-1 now that are still like not great, and some are 2-1 that like, I mean, the Broncos are 2-1 and they look awful so far.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, like in preparation for this episode, because while the NFL, like you're still shaking things out, like statistically, if you're 0-3 in the NFL, you're not making the playoffs. But if you're 0-3 in fantasy, and I was looking at your team, like I was looking for trading with your team, it's going to be hard to find like a player that I can get from you, because I think you and maybe everybody in our league like has these players that maybe haven't shaken out right now, but they still have hope. So I don't think anybody's hopes have been crushed yet other than Ryan's. So.
Yeah. Look, it's like when you're using a urinal, how many times do you shake? I mean, some people shake twice, some people shake 3 times, some people shake 4.
Yeah.
I'm usually like 2 to 3, but my team is about to shake 4 times. Like I got one more shake in me, and depending on how this next week goes, this is a message to the entire league. Send me trade requests. My players can be yours in exchange for draft picks.
Yeah.
So we'll that's something I'm throwing out there. Send me trade requests.
So before we get into week 4, let's just do a quick congratulatory message to our week 3 game of the week winner.
Yes,
again, Monday Night Football hasn't happened yet, but unless something historic happens, Dan is going to come out the winner of the week 3 matchup versus him and MJ. MJ came with a little bit of trash talk, and I even heard from Dan that MJ was doing some private trash talk too, but his team didn't show up. So MJ is now 2-1. Dan is now 2-1. I play Dan next week. Who do you play next week? I
play Mitch. I play the Lynchburg football team.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So those should be some good matchups. But we're going to definitely shake out like the 2-1 a stalemate we have across the standings. So
I hope so.
Yeah, talking about standings, let's go right into standings
and
league data. Yeah, okay. 1 sec.
Yeah, we're gonna look at some standings. I mean, we talked about who's at the bottom, Ryan and I. Who's at the top?
Yeah, let me just try to zoom this for you. Oh, that's not. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, so unequivocally, like Martin, after two solid performances, is at the top. Again, tiebreaker in our league. We have no division, so it's points four. I'm inching right behind him, like 164 points per game. Um, but yeah, Ryan and you are both at the. Let me just sort this by point. Yeah, you and Ryan are definitely at the bottom of
Damn.
points for. But I think one thing you wanted to, maybe get on your soapbox about was this points against
Yeah,
per
points
game.
against. No one week 1, 2, and 3, I've faced like the team that has had a league winner, like a game winner on their team. Last week, Lamar put up 40 plus. I mean, Lamar had 100 plus rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. That's setting me up for disaster. I played Josh Allen that had dropped 40 points, and I don't even remember who dropped 40 on me on week 1, but someone 100% has dropped 40 on me every single week, and I just can't beat that. I did look at the week 3 scores. I mean, the games are ending tonight, and sure, my team didn't show up like they should have, but I still would have beat, I think, 5, maybe 6 of the teams this week if I had played them. But I played King Martin, and Martin's out for people's necks this season.
Martin's out, and I mean, he still had like a relatively pretty difficult schedule compared to everybody else too. So
yeah.
I mean, he's deserving of that top spot in the standings right now for sure, without a doubt.
I do want to say one thing to Matt.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, Matt, you're 2-1. Your average points against is 115. Mine's 167. You're like playing Division 3 right now. I'm in Division 1.
Yeah. The 2-1, and even for Dan too, he's not that far behind.
Yeah,
right?
Dan's schedule is softer than a soft-boiled egg.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how good they really are in the weeks to come.
For sure.
Anything else on the standings that stuck out to me? I don't know. Ryan's team is just great. Like, I just can't believe how bad Ryan's team is. It's like 20 points worse than anybody.
Ryan's just bad on both ends. Like, he's bad on the points for and the points, and it's easy on the points against. I'm bad on the points. Like, sure, I'm scoring, but not too much. But my schedule's hard. Ryan has legitimately no excuse. So Ryan, sorry, man, your team sucks.
I got to give a shout out to Gabe though. Me and Gabe had, I think, definitely the most interesting game of week 3.
Yeah, it was good.
Hang on, pause for a second. I never want to watch the Broncos on national TV again.
That's right.
The Broncos offense is so bad, and the 49ers offense was pretty bad too. But we were essentially in a duel with Courtland Sutton and Deebo Samuel, and Courtland Sutton just edged it out, so I was able to beat Gabe. But that was a really fun game. One of my more favorite fantasy matchups in recent memory.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So that's all I want to talk about with the week 3, and I have this game idea.
Okay.
That I wanted to play with you. So why don't you share my screen again? I think you should have access.
Yes. We're sharing screen.
So this year has been really interesting, like with the new scoring, and we've seen like crazy scores from players lately, and the scores for the teams themselves have been like 150, 160, 170, even a couple like 200, close to 200 games. So the thing that I haven't gotten a good feel of yet, and which I have felt like before we've been playing on pretty standard ESPN scoring stuff, so you can kind of understand the division and the ratio of what a top quarterback is versus what a medium quarterback is, what a top running back is versus a medium running back, a later round running back. And so what I did was I pulled the player data up to week 3 for the number 1 ranked quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, defense, and kicker, and the number 7, 13, 19, 25. And I broke it down that way because with the 12-team league, what's right in the middle there of 1 to 12 and then 13 to 24. So you're looking at like what your quarterback 1 is, what the next tier of quarterbacks is, and then like what the final tier is. So I put all these players on here. So number 1 ranked quarterback, and then I whited out a couple of these players so we can do like a little guessing game who you think that player is. Does it
Sure.
make sense?
It makes sense to me.
Yeah. So why don't we start at quarterback first? And we can talk about these players as we go, but it's just absurd what Lamar's been able to do this
Crazy.
season. Like, I think, I mean, there's no way it can keep up. That he can keep up this pace, but you're getting crazy value out of Lamar. Let me pull on another tab so I can see who actually has Lamar.
Martin has Lamar.
Martin has,
I played him this past
yeah.
week, and Martin got Lamar in the third, back half of the third round after Allen, Mahomes, and Herbert had all been drafted ahead of him. So very interesting to see, like, fourth QB taken, top QB right now when it comes to points. And I mean, it's looking like it might stay that way.
Yeah. So these percentages too, what I did was like based off of the number 13 player in the position, how much better is Lamar performing than the number 13? And so number 13 of quarterbacks is Marcus Mariota, who's I think been a big surprise for 13. I don't remember
Drake London.
Yeah, Drake London's a dog for sure.
So who's the 19th? Is this where I'm guessing?
Yeah. Let's have you
All
guess.
right. So I think the 25th is Brady.
Very, very, very close. I wish I could hide this because it'll give it away. But
I think okay. I was gonna Brady and Rodgers. I mean, we just watched that game last night. They suck. And okay, so
and I checked this before, but Brady's I think 26.
Okay.
And isn't that crazy? Like Aaron Rodgers is 37 total points, but Lamar is over 3 times that amount. Like if you went in expecting Rodgers to be your starting QB, like it's just not panning out for you.
Yeah.
And so the 19 I think is also a surprise too.
Is it Joe Burrow?
Nope. Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
Yeah. So I mean, you're not starting Baker. You're not starting. You knew you weren't starting Baker. You didn't know you weren't starting Rodgers. You
didn't know.
Marcus Mariota can be a serviceable starter if need be, but if you have one of these top quarterbacks, I think you're very happy. You're very set. I have Jalen, and I'm so happy about that. He's a dog.
Nice.
He's him.
Nice.
All right, let's go to running backs.
Nick Chubb
with the surprising. I knew Nick Chubb was good. We all know Nick Chubb is good, but in a PPR league, I didn't know Nick Chubb was gonna still retain elite value like this.
He scored 2 touchdowns in week 3, so that helps because we're still early in the season, right? But I've watched him. I watched the Thursday night game, the whole thing, and he averages so many yards per run. I mean, that's like he's averaging like 6 yards a carry, and he's done that his whole career. And I think it's like Nick Chubb just has this persona that he's just like a worker. He's not flashy.
Yeah.
But number 7, So like, okay, James Robinson's been a beast, but I think he might be higher than number 7.
So there's a theme with 7 and 13, and that's really like the round 1 running backs across the board have pretty much disappointed. So for 7 and 13.
Hold on, let me guess 13. I see 7 already. Okay, so 7's Taylor. 13 is probably, I'm going to go with Henry.
Eckler.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Taylor was the first off the board. Eckler was the third. CMC is somewhere. I think CMC might be 6 or 8. It's like somewhere around there. But, these first round running backs just really haven't panned out.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the stats real quick on my side screen. Yeah. So you said James Robinson. James Robinson is actually number 2 in scoring for running backs. Cordarrelle Patterson is 3. Edwards-Helaire is 4. Aaron Jones is 5. So
I'm looking at the draft results here. James Robinson was drafted.
Matt has Robinson and Chubb.
Okay, he got Robinson in the 8th round.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really great. And he got Nick Chubb in the 2nd.
Yeah. So congratulations, Matt. Maybe we were a little harsh on his points against. He has a good team.
Yeah.
Or at least a very
some good running backs.
Yeah, some good running backs. All right, so receivers. I thought I had one of these whited up, but maybe not. I think the theme here for a receiver though is like these are the guys who are gonna win you some freaking games. Like Greg Dortch and even Zay Jones, like the 25th ranked receiver, has almost as many points as Austin Eckler. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, Diggs, AJ Brown, even Amari Cooper, like on a bad Browns team is like dominating right now in our league. So overall, the receivers like
Yeah, Greg
are just
Dortch. I mean, so
incredible.
Dortch is interesting because his situation. Hopkins hasn't come back. I think who is it? Moore, is that like one of the receivers? Like had some kind of injury.
Rondell Moore,
Yeah,
yeah,
and the Cardinals have been throwing a ton. So I
yeah,
think Mitch has Dortch on his team, which is a great pickup. I think he got off
yeah,
waivers.
he
We'll
did.
see if that production continues. Amari, he did have a big game on Thursday again. So we're in that third week, kind of things can be
I,
skewed. But
I
Brissett's been playing
Yeah, and
great.
I think Amari's the only guy. Like, I made a really bad trade with Bada to get Donovan Peoples-Jones, but Amari's going to be the guy as long as he's healthy. He's going to
Yeah.
get
The
crazy
standout one
targets.
here is AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown's beating expectations. So
Oh, really?
I I think, or maybe he's playing up to expectations, and that doesn't always happen. Like,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fair.
All
All
right,
right,
let's do tight end.
dude. Tight ends.
13th.
Same with Lamar though. Mark Andrews is on a tear. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see this much with tight ends. Like, unless you're Gronk or Kelsey, Mark Andrews' last year and a half has just been insane. So that's great production. Dan definitely got his value out of his third round pick there, or second round pick whenever he got Andrews.
Yeah.
But 13, yeah. So
13, I'm gonna go with, okay. So I don't even know if Dalton Schultz is lower. I wanted to say Everett, but I feel like Everett might be higher, and so I'm just gonna throw a wild card and say Waller.
yeah. So
But I
is
think Waller's
Everett
higher too.
higher?
I think Waller's
Okay,
higher.
so the answer is Kyle Pitts,
Kyle Pitts.
who was my third round tight end. And if it wasn't for a pretty decent game week 3, he would have been below Dalton Schultz. Like, he had 4 catches in 2 games, and then last week he had a pretty decent game to
Yeah.
get him back into the top 13. But still a little disappointed so far on Kyle Pitts, but hopefully that'll change. If not this year, then in many years to come. I have been very vocal that I want Kyle Pitts to be my guy for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then this guy Colby Parkinson is like the third Seahawks tight end. Like, he's on waivers right now, and he's at
Probably
19.
has like 2 catches though, and like
Yeah.
50 yards.
I mean, look at these point totals for tight ends. Like, they're just terrible across the board. Kelsey has 60, which is number 2, and then Ertz has 41. Conklin has 40. Waller has 38. Tight ends other than Andrews and Kelsey are not scoring.
My man Irv Smith, hopefully on the come up.
Yeah, you dropped him and you picked him back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So defense, I feel like it's every other year there's like a solid defense, right? Like, one that is gonna perform better than the rest. Like, look at the differentials on 7 through 25. Like, 15-point differential between the 7th defense and the 25th defense. So defense. I'll say it again with kickers, but you should not draft a defense or a kicker other than your last 2 picks in the draft.
Yeah, well, the first defense picked was by Baltimore in the 12th round. Dan picked Baltimore. No. Mitch picked the Bills in the 12th round.
Yeah. So I'll give you a spoiler. The Bills are not number 1. The Bills are number 2. I'm sure the Bills will end up number 1 at some point, but
I think the defense I'm going with the Eagles as the number 1.
Close, I think, but the Bucks are actually the number 1 defense so far, 3 games in. So the Bills are number 2. The Broncos are 3, and they're on the waivers. Eagles are 4. Jacksonville, surprisingly, is 5. So
okay,
yeah, like let's do kickers, and then I want to like go back to like my general theme about this. So Younghoe Koo for the culture, killing it at number 1. Kind of, I don't know, like kickers. The really only thing, like the difference between the number 1 kicker and the number 25 kicker is 17 points. Like, kickers just, you're lucky if you get over 10 points this year for a kicker. Who do you think's 13? Do you even know that many kickers?
No, I mean, I'm just gonna pick like a kicker from. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Who is he?
Actually, I hid this for a reason. Is because it's Justin Tucker, who I believe was probably the first kicker off the board, right?
Probably. I can check real quick. So kickers are purple, and the first kicker taken
Was by Dan at the 15th round.
No, Brandon took a kicker in the 12th round. Cincinnati kicker.
Oh, wow.
Evan or E. McPherson.
Yeah.
Where's he ranked right now?
Oof. Like around 9, I think.
Gotcha.
With 26 points.
So awful pick by Brandon there, but Dan did pick Tucker in the 15th.
Yeah. So I mean,
next kicker taken
for what? Like that's a 3-point difference. And like, so on the waivers, Zerline is the 4th ranked right now. Pinero's the 5th ranked, and R. Patterson from the Jags is the 6th ranked. All on waivers. Like, you don't even need a draft kicker. I don't even draft a kicker for this league. I just waited till the day before week 1 and just pick someone off the waivers. That being said, my kicker is like at the bottom of the barrel right now. I'm gonna have to pick a new kicker this week.
About to spend some fab.
About to spend the very little fab I have left. So my general takeaway though, because to tie it all back and thinking about how scoring is an impact in our league, like with our new scoring system, is that these quarterbacks that are rushers, Lamar, Kyler, Josh Allen, Hurts, Trey Lance before injury, like I think they are. I mean, this is not anything crazy, right? Like, because Russian quarterbacks are valued higher, but like the difference is now like that 0.5 rushing points per first down is, I think, really making a difference for those guys who, like Lamar, he probably just goes out on a bootleg, gets a first down. He's like 10 carries, 10 first downs, So if I were to make any kind of assumption, is that I would probably start drafting quarterbacks like a lot higher than our standard old ESPN.
Or do you think people are going to keep these quarterbacks?
That's no fair. If you have one of the guys, you want to keep them for sure.
I mean, I'm looking at Martin's team right now. I'm like, who's he keeping? So
if you have
keeping Lamar,
if you have one of those guys, you got to keep them. And then if you don't have one of those guys, I think you would really try hard to get some like rookie assets or draft assets. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, a little bit of fun talking about data and some players. That's all that I wanted to share on that screen. So you can minimize that now.
All right, what's next on the lineup of the pod? 2nd and 9 pod. If you're still listening, shout out to you.
Yeah, 2nd and 9 pod on a pre-Monday Night Football episode recording. That's about it. I just had the closing, which is my announcement of the week 4 game of the week. Again, hopefully Dan sends out a video here soon, so he makes the first announcement. But I don't know, his mom's in town. He may not get to it, so I'll do it. I'll share the game of the week.
Sure.
So week 4 game of the week is actually I have a couple notes. Let me pull up these notes. Okay, week 4 game of the week. All-time record of 6-4. This one player has won the last 4 games. It's a super competitive history / rivalry. One of the players pulled off a gutsy win to get their first win last week. And then one of the teams, their season is on the line. This week 4 game of the week matchup is Josh versus Mitch.
Ooh, I'm in a game of the week. Let's go.
Yeah. So there's some, I mean, you and Mitch back to the basketball court like days. Like, I feel like this is like a one-on-one, like show me what you got type of week right here from you two guys. Like who's going to show up?
Look, I'm looking at the camera right now, dead center in the lens. And I want you to know, Mitch, you're about to fucking lose this week. I'm going to be 1-3, a respectable 1-3. Your team, I don't even know who's on your team except for Greg Dortch. And I don't need to know because you're about to get smothered. Roshan kept saying during this pod, shake it out. I'm about to shake it out all over you. I'm about to go shake weight on your ass. So game of the week.
Hell yeah.
See you there.
That's super. I'm excited. I think that'll be a really good matchup. And wish you both the best. that's it for this week of 2nd and 9. We'll see you all in the red zone.
See you all.
See you all in the red zone.
Yeah, see you all in the red zone.
I think that was a good outro.
Oh yeah, great outro.
Just need the music. If we had a person to do the music.
See ya.
All right, see ya.